Here's hoping this one also makes me cry. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to VHS Viral, the third of the VHS anthology films, and the first one to not just have a numbered title. Well, I guess technically the second one, if you want to count the first one, but the first one was just VHS, then we had VHS 2, but then it goes to Viral instead of VHS 3. So a new one of these actually just came out. I believe it was called VHS Halloween. And we're still quite a few away from that. Because I believe after this, there's VHS Beyond. And then it starts going with, like, year numbers. It's like, I think one of them is, like, 88 or something like that. Because it's, like, referencing the year that I guess things take place in. So we've got, like, I think after this, I want to say 3 or 4 more before the newest one. Something like that. This is actually a very long series. Again, it's all anthology films, so there's not really continuity, but it's actually a very long ongoing anthology series that's pretty good in that regard. But yeah, the second one actually made me cry, if you remember right. It was the zombie one, the zombie jogging one. That just got really fucking sad in the end, and it's just like, oh, why are you doing this to me? But it also had like the weird cult-like one as well, is one of the anthology subjects for it. And I'm very curious to see what more these stories give us, because there's so much possibility in horror. There's so many different subgenres, so many different things they can do. And so I'm just very curious to see not only what the framing device of this one is going to be comparative to the first two, but also like what other kind of stuff we're going to get in terms of the actual, stories. Now, the fact that this is called Viral doesn't really give me any kind of like hints, because usually when you're talking like viral in terms of like films and whatnot, which this is obviously in reference to because VHS, when you're talking about virality, you're talking about how, like, mainstream popular, how well known it is, how, like, it's become, it's gone everywhere in the social viewpoint. Everyone knows about it because it's that big of a deal. Think of, like, a video game like recently Claire Obscure Expedition 33, where it's just like, oh, the game, for a lot of people, seemingly came out of nowhere, and then just blew up. It just became super popular overnight, and became like this massive sensation. That's kind of what virality in terms of this means. A lot of times it's used in terms of the internet for specifically like streamers, or like animation pilots it's used for. For example, a viral animation pilot just recently would be Knights of Guinevere. It got insane attention, insane views, and insane popularity just really fucking quickly. That's what it means for something to go viral. So in terms of this, are we going to be touching on specifically like the most popular subgenres of horror? The ones that, typically get the most views, the most screen time? Because we've already done zombies. When I think of, like, the most popular horror, I think of zombies. You have to have something involving spirits, a supernatural horror like that. You have to have demons. I would say you have to have some kind of creature, and I would say vampires are probably the most viral in terms of that. Definitely more so than werewolves. And then you gotta have like a psychological horror, I would say. At least if we're talking in like modern like times. But I guess this movie came out years ago, so I mean, I don't think it's changed that much lately, like in the past decade or so. I think It's mostly been like a lot of the same stuff. But maybe that's not even what we're going for here. I don't know. Maybe that's more in line with the framing device. Maybe the framing device that's going to connect all of this together is going to be something related to maybe internet virality, maybe something related to that kind of stuff. I'm very curious though, so I think we're just going to get into this. We're going to find out what we have in store. And as always, hope for the best. And hey, if another one of these makes me cry, I will be so happy with that. So let's get this going, see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. This was shit. Like, this was really bad. Like, the first movie was good, but not great. It, like, had some issues. It wasn't, like, perfect by any means, but it was passable, at least. And the second movie was definitely pretty good. Again, it made me cry, and it was just very interesting. This movie was terrible in a number of ways. And the worst part about it is that this had the potential to be the best one with what the segments were about. So let's go through. I'm going to talk about the frame narrative first, which is called Vicious Circles. It's confusing. Vicious Circles is confusing, disinteresting, and is trying more to send a message about, you know, virality and people's obsession with virality and the fact that they'll let, like, viral videos and, you know, online content shape their attitudes, their lives, their actions. They basically become brainwashed by it, as we see people are becoming in this frame narrative. Which, by the way, I don't think I even got that while watching. That they were becoming brainwashed by the images on their phones. I noticed the images on the phones. I just didn't realize it was brainwashing them. And what was causing all these, like, fires to start across the city and all these people to, like, get violent and stuff and all the crazy shit happening. It's like it was, again, it was trying to tell its message rather than tell an actual compelling narrative. And the frame narrative completely falls apart because of that. It's really confusing from the get-go in terms of it even being a frame narrative, because there's, like, nothing that connects the other segments to it. In the previous films, it's like, oh, you have these people actually watching the tapes that the different segments are on. In this, like, there's, I guess, something about, like, uploading a bunch of videos to the internet and stuff, but it's like, it's not entirely clear what the gist with these, what everything that's going on is with the frame narrative, or where these videos are even coming from. Are they being broadcast over the phone? Is that how we're supposed to be viewing it? Like, they're what's being shown on the phones? And what are driving people crazy? I don't know. It's not clear. Even after looking it up. And on top of that, I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about anything happening in it. Because it's like, you're supposed to care that this girl, like, Iris, is, like, seemingly kidnapped and being driven around, but it's like, I mean, it's clear from the beginning that she's gonna be dead. I mean, she's walking out, like, bleeding from the face, like, walking out into the middle of the street in, like, a kind of daze. And then she's taken. It's like, yeah, that's not going to end well, obviously. It's like, it's so boring and disinteresting. It's like every time it comes back to it, it's like it also barely feels like it's coming back to the frame narrative, because again, it doesn't feel like a frame narrative, unlike in the first two films. It just, it felt like it wasn't well thought through. And then we have the segments. So let's go through each of the segments here. First, we have Dante the Great. This is the best of the segments, easily. But it's super underutilized, and the problem with it is that it really is shit at explaining things, because it's told through like this documentary, right? We're seeing it through this documentary style retelling of like events that already happened or are currently happening. I think it's kind of like a mix of both. So it's like already kind of confused in regards to its like timeline placement. But on top of it, it's also just like regrettably short. It feels like you needed to make almost a whole movie on this, or at the very least, it needed to be notably longer. Because it just felt like there wasn't enough time and effort put into it because of not enough time. And I just don't really feel like it was as impactful and exciting as it could have been. The idea of like a failed stage magician finding a cloak that allows him to use real magic and then like seemingly going insane from the power and like becoming a murderer and stuff sounds really fascinating if you have like the time to develop into that. Instead, it's just like it's way too quick. It just goes by in a flash. It doesn't give you time to like digest anything. And that's the biggest issue. You needed that time for things to really progress naturally. And it just doesn't allow you to have that. Also, apparently, I was reading here, apparently the reason he was killing his assistants and stuff was because apparently the cloak failed at some point, and he realized somehow that he needed to give it human sacrifices in order for it to continue to work. Where the fuck did it explain that? Because I read that when I was looking this up afterwards, because I was really confused by the entire movie and was looking things up. But I read that, I'm like, I do not remember it saying that at all. Or even implying it. Like, it told us that he killed his assistants. And we know that he killed Scarlett's boyfriend. And then all the SWAT team and all of that. But it never went into detail about it. It never explained what was actually happening or why he was doing it. We assumed the cloak was demonic or something, but we didn't really have anything to go off of, and then it just like, unless there was like something very subtle that was like said or implied or something that I missed because it was like poorly executed, it just really, really did not feel like it expressed what it was trying to express there properly. I thought he just went crazy. I thought he would just went crazy, and that's why he was killing people. I had no idea about the entire human sacrifice aspect of it. It didn't feel like. And when did it fail? When it says his power appears to fail one night, when did that happen? I don't remember it showing that either. The only time I remember it showing him fail was like before he got the cloak, when he was like doing the magic for the people in the trailer park and stuff. It's again, there's not enough time and there's not enough like effort given into making everything clear. It's very confusing. On top of that, apparently, when he and Scarlett are fighting each other and everything, apparently it's being filmed still because the documentary crew are there and filming everything, including when he kills all of the SWAT team. Okay, so how are we supposed to know that? again, it's like things are apparently happening that just aren't ever properly explained. I didn't know that's what was happening there, that's why we were still seeing it. And then at the end, like Scarlet finding the cloak hanging out in her closet and the arms coming out and all, it's like I got that, the cloak mysteriously came back and shit, and they were doing that kind of trope. But it's like it also just felt like it was like not really explaining anything. I know I'm repeating myself with that, but it's the biggest issue with it. It had the potential to be something really good, but it was just poorly handled. On top of that, our next segment was Parallel Monsters. And this one could have been the best one. Dante the Great was the best, but this one, if this was handled better and explained at all, it would have been the best one. The problem with it is that it's so confusing and like we have no context for anything that's happening. And I understand you're supposed to be in the perspective of Alfonso A, and you're supposed to be just as confused as he is and just as freaked out as he is. But the problem is I was that confused, and that's not a good thing because it took away anything that could have made it scary. It took away anything that made it interesting, because the entire time I'm watching, I'm just confused as to what's even happening. So it's like I'm not thinking about like, oh, this is fun to watch, this is exciting, this is interesting as a concept. I'm not thinking about any of that because I'm just like trying to figure out what the fuck is happening. So from what I gathered, Alfonso A is who we start with. He is creating this dimensional portal for whatever reason, and it succeeds. He connects with another dimension that seems parallel to his own, and he and the other Alfonso B, agree to check out each other's universes for 15 minutes, which, by the way, it was absolutely not 15 minutes. The time was just wrong. But that was what the intention was, at least. So then we have kind of a split between like the plot. And so we have Alfonso A's side of things and Alfonso B's, but it keeps going back and forth between them. So I'll just talk about one at a time. So Alfonso B is the one from this parallel world. He comes into Alfonso A's storyline, and all we really see of this is him going upstairs, creeping on Alfonso A's wife, his Marta A, taking pictures of her while she sleeps, and then he disrobes, revealing this monstrous, demonic penis, which he seemingly uses to attack Marta A. Later on, we see. I'll get to when they connect again at the end. But that's basically all of Alfonso B's storyline, and that's also another problem. We get to see almost nothing of Alfonso B like interacting with this world. And I understand the point of that. It's more about Alfonso A discovering the horrors of the other world, but it just feels like there's not enough there to really make the parallel aspect work as well as it could. But anyway, so Alfonso A goes to this world. He ends up meeting up with Marta B in the kitchen. She brings him to the living room where there's like some kind of like cult film playing, but there's also like porn sounds over it, so it's like weird and confusing. But actually she brings him outside first. Then she, him, and two other guys named Oriole both go into the living room. But so there's two guys also there named Oriole. They have the same name as each other. Alfonso A and Marta B all go to the living room, and they're set up for some kind of like ritual shit. Clearly some kind of satanic ritual. He had already seen like there was a weird picture on the wall that implied that kind of thing. So he's just baffled and confused. He's not even able to really react to much of anything. And so the Orioles kind of lose their interest and leave. Marta B ends up confronting him and is like, what the fuck is going on? Why are things weird? But he's, again, not really able to say anything. He's just super confused. There's these sirens going on, and he's wondering about those, and she's like, what the fuck do you mean, what's that? You know what that is. So he, like, runs out to try and see what it is, and there ends up being this blimp going through the sky with, like, a satanic cross on it. And so it seems like this is a, like, parallel world, like, run by Satanism, or, well, not necessarily, like, real life Satanism, but more like a satanic cult you see in a lot of movies. And apparently, according to this description, what is happening here is that this is a world where the main religion isn't Christianity, but this satanic cult. So it's a world where the satanic cult is the, like, leading religion of the world. All right. Sure. I guess, like, we were supposed to get that with the blimp, but just a blimp with a satanic cross doesn't necessarily mean that. So, but either way, Alfonso A ends up seeing the Orioles out, and they suddenly start glowing. Their eyes and mouths start glowing, and it's like really creepy and weird. And they start like confronting him and even chasing him down because he's, acting weird and off. But as they like pin him against a tree or whatever, they reveal as well that they have the, weird monster demon penises. And I don't know why they're bringing it out, because it's like, it looked like it was clear that that Alfonso B was pulling it out at Marta A while she was sleeping to like either sexually assault her, kill her, or both. Was that the goal with the Orioles and Alfonso, who they thought was Alfonso B, but was Alfonso A? Was that what they were trying to do too? Either way, he uses a screwdriver to stab the one in the penis, runs back to his house. Marta B seems to think that he just wanted to kill them on his own, I guess, because ritualistic sacrifice, I guess, is just part of this world. And so she's turned on by this, starts to strip, reveals that her vagina is also monstrous and demonic. So he just decks the shit out of her, runs back to the basement, goes back to his world, and is confronted by, at this point, Alfonso B. And so this is where the stories reconverge. Alfonso B is like covered in blood, and he seems like freaked out, and he's trying to get through. So he stabs Alfonso A to get through. He goes back to his world through the portal, at which point Marta B kills him, thinking that it's the same guy. Because apparently in their world, like, domestic violence is against the law. And so she uses her demon pussy to kill him because she thought that's what was going on there. And she doesn't even seem to ever realize that there was another Alfonso watching this happen through the portal. I don't even think she realized the portal was a thing. But Alfonso A manages to close it, and after he does, he's bleeding out, he's been stabbed. Marta A, his actual wife, comes down, proving that she is alive and that the blood on Alfonso B was his own. But she thinks that this is the Alfonso who attacked her. And so she kills her own husband, not realizing it's a different guy. And it's like, again, this segment had a lot of potential. It was very interesting, but it wasn't explaining anything. And some people would say, oh, but that's the point. You don't want it all explained, otherwise that takes the scariness out of it. No, because it's just confusing. I was just confused the entire time. Like, I didn't have a chance to be scared. I didn't have a chance to be, like, invested in the story at all. Because I just was, like, wondering what the fuck was going on the entire time. And so it just felt like it was poorly executed. Great idea, great concept, just poorly handled. And I just don't feel like it really did anything that, again, wouldn't have been better if it had more time. That seems to be the biggest issue here. This movie was like an hour 20 minutes long. I feel like it should have at least been 20 more minutes longer than that. But honestly, I think it should have been at least 2 hours. I know that seems like a long time for an anthology film, but I genuinely think it needed that much more time for all three of these segments, and I'll be getting to the third one in a minute here, in order for any of them to work. But let's talk about the third segment now. So the third segment is called Bone Storm for some fucking reason. And it's about these two LA skateboarders, Jason and Danny, apparently. I think those were the only two who were actually given names. Unless the others' names were just like said once and then they were referred to by stupid names like Camera Guy and um Money Guy or whatever it was. But apparently, like, before they went to Tijuana, they were trying to, like, be dangerous skateboarding on purpose to injure or kill themselves to sell as a snuff film. Did not get that at all. Like, what? um, but they go to Tijuana and they go to this, like, basin that has, like, this ritualistic stuff all over it. Uh, they also saw a woman before that who was, like, chanting to herself. They start skateboarding there, being stupid idiots, and suddenly, like, one of them ends up bleeding on the summoning circle thing in the middle of the basin. The woman from before appears, as well as other cultists, and they start attacking them. This entire thing gets out of control, and it just becomes like this blur of like this helmet cam shit that is so hard to like grasp what's going on with. It's just it's nauseating. You can't tell what's really happening half the time. Honestly, much more than half the time. Because it's so nauseatingly shot. All of the actors are terrible in this one for some reason. Like, the actors were great in the first two segments, not counting the framing device. But in this segment, for some reason, the actors are really bad. Like, there's points where they're, like, attacking someone, where they're punching and beating up on someone. Their faces are so stoic and emotionless. It's like, yeah, I don't believe that this is happening. They're not acting. They're just, like, being dead and emotionless while pretending to punch someone. It's so bad. But it's like, again, you can barely tell what's happening, but it's just like the cultists are, I guess, trying to take them out because they're not supposed to be there. They start killing the cultists, but the cultists manage to kill the camera guy and the money guy, who, again, are mostly referred to with those kind of nicknames the entire time and never actually referred to by our main two characters by their actual names. And so those two are, like, killed in the chaos. A buttload of the cultists, if not all of them, are also killed. But then suddenly, I guess the ritual causes them to resurrect as skeletons. And by the way, their blood was burning as well, so that's a thing. But they resurrect as, like, skeletons, and so they're attacking again, but they're being fought off again. And then this unseen monster, we don't even get to see what this demon monster looks like, comes out from the sewer grate and eats one of the two. I don't remember which one it was supposed to be, if that was camera guy or money guy. But it just eats him. We see the camera going down the throat and everything, which is a pretty cool aspect of it. And, like, that's the only, like, even shot we get to see of this monster at all, which is very underwhelming. But then our two, like, main characters just escape, by the way. They just manage to actually escape and get away. So it's like they don't even face repercussions for their stupidity and terrible, just horrible actions. And it's like they're, like, probably the two characters in this entire film that I would have wanted to see get repercussions the most. So it's like, of course, they're the ones who don't. But it just seems like this one was the worst by far because it just felt really confusing. The camera work was shit. it was so bad with the helmet cam footage and all. It was so nauseating. It didn't like commit to anything. Again, it was just super confusing and not like interesting as a horror piece. And it just felt super weak because of its, again, runtime issues. And so it's just, it was a waste of time, if I'm being honest. I just didn't enjoy it. I couldn't enjoy it. I found nothing about it to enjoy. And it sucks because I had like, there was a lot about it that I genuinely really liked, at least in concept, but execution was just that bad. And then the framing device also had like two little mini segments as well, just as part of showing how people are going crazy. There's the part with the group of people at the barbecue thing, and it's like, I guess again, from what it says, the videos and the sirens and the everything around them is causing them to go crazy. One of them stabs the dude's dog, which by the way doesn't react. It's not a real dog. It's not even pretending to be a real dog. It's like it's stabbed in the head. It's bleeding. The dog is not reacting at all. A dog would absolutely be freaking the fuck out, screaming and whining and like going crazy. But no, it just sits there, completely blank faced, blood trickling down its head. It's like, what? But the guy who apparently had just gotten out of prison, the owner of the dog, then kills everybody else there in a fit of rage, which is done entirely off screen pretty much. And then he realizes afterwards that it was all because of a misunderstanding and because of this chase happening. And so it's like, okay, it felt entirely random. It felt like it was trying to be another segment. That's why I called it a mini segment, because it felt disconnected outside of the brainwashing aspect, outside of the going crazy aspect. It felt entirely disconnected from the rest of the framing device. And speaking of, there was another one of these mini segments at the end. In the taxi that our main guy, Kevin, was chasing after, we see that there's this really freaky, creepy, disgusting dude filming this woman getting undressed and everything. And she reveals that she was a victim of revenge porn from her ex-boyfriend, apparently. He had sold this creepy ass dude nude videos of her. The creep ass posted them online, and this ruined this girl's life. So she was trying to get revenge on him, and is threatening him, forcing him to strip as well. Apparently, the taxi driver tries to get involved, but he just stops after he's like threatened as well. But then they're just crushed in by I guess a police car flipping onto their taxi, and they just all die. Again, it's like the ones we want to see die the most, the ones in the Bone Storm segment, don't die. But this girl, who is, absolutely the one we want to see get revenge and, thrive, she dies? This woman who's a victim of revenge porn, who's had her entire life ruined by it, just suddenly is killed because she's trying to get revenge, because she's trying to, get back at one of the people who destroyed her livelihood. Like, what am I supposed to feel? Like, the thing is, the movie doesn't tell me what I'm supposed to feel in that moment. I'm just disappointed by it. I'm just, like, upset because it's like she's, like, the one character in this movie, I think, except maybe Scarlet from the Dante the Great one, who I'm actively rooting for. She's, like, the only character, except maybe Scarlet, that I'm actively rooting for. Because she's literally a victim who's trying to get back at one of the people who destroyed her life with a video of her, naked and engaged in sex acts and stuff. she's it's not right to kill off someone like that. This isn't like Terrifier or some shit. You're supposed to want you're supposed to have like these kind of characters survive, at least one of them, to give the viewers something to cheer for, something to be excited about. If you kill off all the likable characters and keep the unlikable ones alive, it just leaves a hollow feeling after watching. It just feels like your views of these characters don't matter. And again, this isn't a movie like Terrifier where anyone can die, except maybe Sienna, I guess. It's not like where a film like that where anyone can die, and that's kind of the point, and you're not really supposed to get attached to characters as much. It's not like that because that's meant to have that kind of shock factor. That's the kind of film that is. That's not the kind of film this is, though. And apparently, this film did terribly too. It was really poorly received compared to the first two, and apparently, I've heard that I did read that the next one is better received. I didn't read anything about it other than I think it was VHS 99. I'm not going to look it up again, but it's like I didn't look up any info about it. I just saw that it was better received than this because it was being talked about like along with how this movie was received. And it was like it's like that's good to know. Like hopefully the next one is better, but god this one was so bad. And again, it's not the concepts of the segments. Although I think that the variety in this was also shit. Let's talk about that. So we had a demonic cape, right? That was segment 1. Segment 2 was satanic demonic worship in a parallel world. Segment 3 was demonic worship that led to resurrection after death and some kind of demon monster. All three of them were demon. All three of them were demon themed. It's so boring when you have an anthology film that's not actually an anthology. Like, I mean, yes, it's different technical narrative specifics that are going on, but with all of them being themed around the same thing, I mean, I'm not even talking about the virality theme because that makes sense to include in all of them. But with all of them being demon horror specifically, it felt like so underwhelming because of that. Like you see these others and it's like, oh, we're going to have a demon segment. We're going to have a cult segment. We're going to have a zombie segment. But this, it's just like, or the first one had like a succubus, right? That's what the split face girl was, who, by the way, was shown in the videos. So that's fascinating to me. The videos that were appearing on people's phones, yeah, the split face girl appeared at least in one shot of that. So, okay. But it's like when it's all segmented on sorry, I can't speak. When it's all based around the same subgenre of horror, it's like what's the point in making this an anthology at that point? Like it just feels like a waste of time. You could have just made any of these into full films. And there's not enough variety to the segments to make it really feel like an anthology in the same way that the first two did. Or like other films have as well, other anthologies we've watched. This was just really bad. The actors, like I said, for the first two segments, as well as the framing device, were good. They were at worst good. None of them were bad in those two segments or the framing device. It was just the final segment that for some reason they just got the worst actors for whatever like reason they had. Um and mind you, they could have been like giving a spotlight to new actors and stuff, which I can appreciate to a degree. But at the same time, it's like it just really brought down the entire segment that was already not well written or anything either. So, yeah, it didn't help. It just did not help. And again, the horrific camera work in the final segment also destroyed its enjoyability entirely. So yeah, this was definitely my worst segment of all of VHS. I would say it was that bad. And again, the other two segments were good, great concepts even, but just were not well executed at all. And I really do hope the next one, which again I think is VHS 99, is much better. I hope there's more variety. I hope that there's more interesting, intriguing plot devices. I hope that the actual framing device feels like a framing device and isn't just confusing. It's like they really need to like bring this back, and they really need to make the next one more coherent, because this was just not it. And it really sucks too, because it's like it sucks when the concepts are good but the execution is bad, because it's like it had so much potential and just failed on all of it. So I apologize for being wholly negative about this, but I really didn't have much of anything positive to say. I would love to hear your thoughts though, so tell me in the comments below, what did you think of VHS Viral? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.